We're talking soul jump, just checking in whether I can be heard because I'm in Bali and sometimes internet is not so good. Can you give me some feedback whether I can be heard from everybody? Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to continue talking.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool, good. I'd like to share about soul jump, creating the life you want, and it was in the 90s when I started this practice, developing this practice. By just coincidence, I wanted to change my life at that time, and I booked a workshop. And I was, like, cut a long story short, I was preparing to jump into something. So I put myself into the situation that I actually jumped from a very height in a secured situation, similar to bungee jumping, into a new life context. And my life changed immediately, like in the next 2 to 3 weeks, completely on the topic I wanted to change at that time. So I investigated that, and I started to develop a practice, which I today call soul jump. And it's actually what I experienced over the time. It's actually um, you're telling your soul, you're telling your operating system of whichever operates your body and your human experience to develop the change, and you need a really focused power to do that. So first of all, what I experienced it that actually during the first 10 meters of jumping, you actually leave your body because it's a life-threatening situation. And in that moment, when you're focused and concentrated, and you know exactly what you want, I experienced that you can put a new tape, you can put a new kind of guideline into your life story. And that is what I've done several times for myself, and also with other people in soul jump experiences. Um, so, oops. So first of all, the first thing is you really need to use your willpower to define what you want. That is the most difficult thing in my eyes, what people experience. Not everybody really knows what you want and how you can implement that. But really, like, if you want to actively drive your life into a situation which you desire, you really need to be clear, because this really works. So I spent about 2-3 months with people want to go through this process and develop the the wish for a change, and formulate it and boil it down to one sentence before I really be sure that this is that what people want. Because my experience, whatever I've done it, it worked for me. Whenever I've done it with people and I followed these practices, it worked for those people I've been working with. So what do you do then? You actually, what we do is, after defining what we have been wanted to jump into, we do a jump. I like to go into an aeroplane and jump out of 4,000-meter height, because on top of it, I'm afraid of heights, so it's really a challenge. So you prepare yourself, you go there, and you got to be really clear and focused in your mind and in your action when you go up into the 4,000-meter size, when you've never done that before. I recommend this tandem jump, because then you can really concentrate on putting this new tape into your operating system. And so you're moving slowly to the entrance of the plane, and going in, and then when you're just falling into this space, you're looking down 4,000 meters, and falling into this space, into this freedom, your software, your soul, your whatever, your operating system, and I could call it, if I'm not want to be like spiritual, which runs your human experience, is kind of experiencing, hi, this is life-threatening. I really need to disappear here. So this is what I've experienced. I've seen that, like my body flying without, like from above. So in that moment, if you're focused and concentrated, you can put this new tape into your operating system, into your, like really what runs your body and your human experience. So you can really design that. How we do this in preparation, we are in coaching sessions, in group coaching sessions, and we really want to be clear in understanding what our like life purpose is. So it's an experience of where do you want to go, where do you want to be in the future, what is your desire, and you got to be serious about this. And I'll share an experience. The last one I did was 2.5 years back. So people coach each other. So far, I've always done that without any charges. I'm helping people to change the life they want to live, change their life, and that they want to live the life and really reach what they want. And so you really need to make the decision that you want to change. People always talk about change, is my experience, but are you really bold enough to really experience what you want? Huh? Have you looked into all the fears and all the things you don't want to lose? Because change is usually, it's going to be different afterwards. And you can't go back if you do a real change. It's not like you try it out and then maybe it works, you know? That is on the application level. That's not operating system. And so if you know what you want, you really need to challenge that and formulate that into one sentence. And that is very difficult. My experience is that it takes a while. But I would like to invite you guys who are on the call now, maybe to think about, since you're on the call, like spend like 2-3 minutes, are you able to really formulate in a sentence what you really want to change in your life? Because otherwise probably you wouldn't be in the call right now. So what do you really want to change? So take a minute, take like a notepad, pen, and write down what you would like to change. And what is the situation you would like to be in? And it can be really weird, can be like big. I wouldn't jump for like just a small thing which you can like easily change. I'm talking about these changes where we like life changes, where you seeing the reality different, big time. Like you don't do that every other year. So anybody like to share?
Yes, I will share because I'm ready.
Yeah, Benjamin,
So
please.
for me, what I want at the moment is what I need, and it's to be more focused. I tend to get distracted too easily, and it really impacts my productivity, and so my ability to achieve my goals.
Yeah. So you, like, in one sentence, this is not one sentence, this is already a little explanation, you're explaining it, you know? And you
I
see,
want
it's
to be
not so
focused.
easy.
I want to be more. I
Yeah,
want to be focused. I want to be
yeah,
able
yeah,
to.
but I could, yeah, I think you're already focused, and I mean, I only saw you a couple of minutes, but you're focused. You're talking on this conference. I think you're already focused. Like now, I would go deep with you and experience and explore what is behind that wish to be focused, and how would the environment, the context, look like for you, where you experience yourself to be focused. And how can you bring an emotion into this, and how can you formulate that in one sentence? Would that be in the same environment, same apartment, same thing? So I would go deeper now with you, and I would like you to challenge, what does that mean? And would that be worthwhile for you to do this experience and go out there and jump into a context that you experience yourself to be a really clear, and maybe I expand that a little bit, focused, consciously focused on all the topics all the time, because that's really a challenge, not easy to achieve. And do you want to really experience that? You know, that is a cool thing. Anybody else would like to share? Cool. So then, like, be ready. Like, if last time I was jumping into a new life context for me, I was jumping into the ability of my overall human potential, experience that no matter what, no backdoor. And the preparation I've done is I really looked deeply into the existence of my whole life, like living already, like being on this planet over 50 years, having this done several times, knowing what is possible. So I jumped into the potential, the overall potential of my human being. And it took about a year after I've jumped, and I changed everything in my life. I changed my company, I changed my profession, I changed my living space. I changed everything after a year, really like sorted itself out, effortless. And right now I'm sitting here in Ubud, 2 years after I jumped, in a totally different environment. And I've done that several times. So if you're really focused, and I really enjoy what I'm doing right now, that is a way where you can take your willpower to the level that you can use that in your conscious aware moment and formulate something to bring that onto your like soul level, so that your soul is actually providing intelligently for you a way which you can recognize and walk in a conscious way. That is how I experience those soul jumps. Really cool. And it will happen. Victoria, I saw Victoria on the call also. I've invited her. She jumped with me last year. Victoria is still here?
Yes, I'm here.
Cool.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Would you like to share a few things about your jump?
Yeah, I actually can do it. Yeah, so we met for the first time, I think it was in April, end of April or May. And you introduced me to the soul jump, and I experienced myself subconsciously directly starting to think of fears and things I want to change in my life, even though in the very first beginning, a moment, I didn't have an idea of what I exactly want to take as a sentence or what I want to change, it started to work a lot. And only 8 weeks or 6 weeks after, we met again for the soul jump, and I experienced myself being very nervous the night before, because I knew on a subconscious level that many things will happen and change for myself. And yeah, basically now it's almost a year ago, and yeah, like you were saying, I changed my profession as well. And now I took some minutes for reflection, because you mentioned that with the profession, and I didn't even notice that I changed my profession, like, because it just happened so smoothly that it just felt right. And yeah, many things are still changing, and it's very interesting to see how I feel like that parts of myself can unfold, which didn't have space before because I was not in the right environment. I think
Cool.
overall, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. That was really a cool jump. What we did. Yeah. So that is what I've experienced, and I thought about, like, it might be interesting to people, because how do you really, like, change? You can do an effort on this level of existence and like your willpower, but to really communicate with your, like, whatever we call soul, in my eyes, is a challenge, and not many people know how to do that. So I just like to share these kind of things here in this environment, and after that, we anchor that experience just by, like, sharing about it, and then be patient and watch the process, and just trust that there is something which is beyond your day-to-day awareness, which is actually able to guide you into something which you want. Yeah. So that's in a nutshell what I would like to share here. My experiences about talking to your soul and giving a clear guidance from your willpower in how you want to see reality in the future. Any questions or any comments from the group?
I have one, is what is stopping us what is standing between us and our ability to access this intuition that guide us toward what we really want, according to you?
Yeah, I don't know what really stops us. I mean, I just experienced that this works for me. There's, like, of course, like, so many different ways on how you can change. This works for me. I've done my first jump in the 90s, 96, and I've constantly, like, over the years and intervals of couple of years, decades, changed my life, or like implemented new guidelines for myself to really reach out as far as I can as a human being to contribute with my purpose, living a happy and a cool life. I wouldn't say that nothing stops us. What I say, it's like the communication between what I see as our true self and our, like, day-to-day being. You can also call it soul and ego, or whatever operating system and application, like the difference between yourself and if you have that experience that there is something which is beyond your day-to-day awareness, which is deeper and which actually runs your life on a kind of a base. If you see that, it's difficult to access this. And in my eyes, I wouldn't know any other technique to access this and implement a spontaneous change, which takes, in my experience, about like 2 to 3 weeks to a year to implement. And I've done that several times now. It always works. I have not heard about anything, and I've traveled the globe. What really, like, how I can change myself so much. I can do something, but I don't see that there is any blockage. The same, let's say, if I contemplate about it, it's the same thing. Like you forget something, you know. It's like, can you access your subconscious? Can you access your reptile brain actively, Benjamin?
Yes, for me, what I noticed is from my point of view, what stops us from, or what hinder our ability to tap into this soul level, this intuition, is the fear or limiting belief or irrational fears or traumas from the past, or inherited traumas, many of them being collective. And so to me, tapping into this is about diving into myself to bring the unconsciousness to consciousness, unconsciousness being these unresolved traumas, these irrational fears, this limiting belief that are stored there. So that's how I overcome this reptilian system to connect to the more divine, intuitive system.
Yeah, I agree. And there is also a technique. You need to have the ability. It's not only that it's a fear, it's also the ability to talk to your soul level. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Any other comments? Anybody who lives in Bali in the call right now? Because you do? Cool.
Yes.
So I'd like to do one again. I want to change something again. The only problem is we don't have skydiving here available in Bali. So I was thinking already about a few people to do a jump from a cliff. There's a few cliffs here at a waterfall, or like to engage a bungee jumping crew. So if you're interested, Benjamin, yeah, I'm probably going to start the process, because I usually do is when I want to jump, you know. It's not, I don't make money with it. So it's just for me to get a kick and to implement something. And the next thing I want to do is I want to create a wealth fund to finance certain projects for global food supply. So, and I need to change my environment for that. So I want to do this fast. Yeah.
Amazing. It would be a great contribution, because we need.
Where are you living? Where are you?
In Kerobokan. And
okay.
it's very important to be able to respond to our fundamental needs as a species, but collectively, in order to move out from the reptilian way of functioning that are not sustainable anymore. So this is really part of the solution.
So yeah, cool. So connect if you're interested, and if you're coming to Ubud.
Sure. How can I find you? Online or?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can use this messenger app or like WhatsApp. I can drop you send you my
You can
WhatsApp
probably,
number.
are you on Facebook?
Yeah,
They can add you there.
I have the same profile photo on Facebook.
That'll work.
To make it easy for people. Cool, good timing. We have a couple of minutes. Next people are coming in.
Christian Nicolai, yeah?
Yep.